Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Chris. Hopefully, you're having a great day. The NHL playoffs kick off in 3 days, and we're gonna look at my playoff predictions. John's done his, Mitch has done his, and mine are gonna be nothing like theirs. Well, they'll be similar, but it's not. We're not like most of the picks are a bit different, so it'll be nice viewing to see. Hopefully, one of us come away with at least the right champion. But don't be surprised if we don't. That's why we love the playoffs. Anyways, guys, we're going to get straight into this. Flames, Avalanche, maybe the easiest series to pick, but who knows? In my opinion, it's got to be Flames in 5 or 6. I mean, I don't think the Avalanche really have the depth other than that first line for the playoffs. They barely sputtered in. So for me, it's got to be the Flames. Maybe the closest series in the second round or the first round is the Sharks Knights. I think goaltending is a big thing in the series. If Martin Jones doesn't show up and Fleury does, expect the Knights to go through. Well, at the same time, if Fleury doesn't show up, I think the Sharks have the depth, both defensively and offensively, to get the job done. And in my opinion, I just don't think the honeymoon will continue for the Vegas Golden Knights in the playoffs. I think this is the Sharks' year to get rid of them. Moving on to the Central, we have the Nashville Predators and the Dallas Stars. This is my first upset, and here's why. Pekka Rinne was not good in the second round of the playoffs last season. And you can say, yeah, that was last year, but I still think he can. I wouldn't say he's overrated. I just think I think if there's a weak point to this Nashville Predators team, it might be him. And he hasn't been that good in the playoffs recently. And for that reason, I'm taking the Dallas Stars. Hot take. I think the Stars have the offense for it, and I think the Stars are going to be slept on, maybe a bit overlooked by the Predators, and I think that is why they'll go to the second round. At the same time, we have the St. Louis Blues taking on the Winnipeg Jets. And for me, I'm not sure. I mean, the Winnipeg Jets haven't looked good with Kevin Hayes. Again, it's still early, but the playoffs are a whole different animal as well. They reached the conference finals last year. Are they gonna crash out in the first round? I think they are. I think Jordan Binnington is gonna have a fire wagon playoffs, and I think the St. Louis Blues are gonna move on to the conference final, or not the conference finals, the conference semifinals. Moving on to the Eastern Conference, I think this is pretty straightforward. The Tampa Bay Lightning over the Columbus Blue Jackets. If the Blue Jackets win 2 games in this series, I think that's a win for them. For a team who has never won a playoff series, it's not the kind of team you want to be facing in the first round. But this Columbus Blue Jackets gave up so much to make the playoffs. It might hurt them if they don't at least win a few games. Maybe to convince a few guys to re-sign, but who knows. The Bruins and the Leafs, we meet again. Will it be third time the charm for the Toronto Maple Leafs? For my sake, hopefully not. I'm a Bruins fan, but look, Leaf fans, you guys probably deserve a playoff win. Probably one of the most dedicated fan bases in the NHL. And it's been a long time since you guys have won a playoff series. Unfortunately, the one reason and the one tipping point I think on this series might be home ice. I think if the Leafs had secured home ice, I'd take them in this series all day. But for me, the Boston Bruins having home ice is huge, and I think the Leafs might struggle in the TD Garden again. So for me, Bruins in 7. Carolina Hurricanes, Washington Capitals. I think a lot of people are going to take the Capitals really quickly on this one, and I'm not going to. I'm not going to take the Capitals at all, actually. And here's why. I think Michael Kempney is actually an X factor for the Washington Capitals. I think him missing is going to be huge. I also think the Carolina Hurricanes are a young, energized team. I think they're going to cause a lot of surprises in these playoffs. They also have a veteran in Justin Williams who's been there and done it before. I think he's going to be huge to keep this team level-headed. I think he's actually going to lead them to a Game 7 victory against the Washington Capitals. Boom. Stanley Cup champions out first round. We've seen it before. It could definitely happen again. The Islanders and the Penguins. This one's interesting. I think the Penguins have the edge when it comes to experience. But I like the Islanders. I like Barry Trotz. In 6, maybe 7. But don't sleep on the Islanders. Matt Barzal, Anders Lee. They got guys who can make noise. I just think they're not quite ready yet. Give them another year, maybe 2, and then they'll be, I think, challengers. Flames Sharks, who's coming out of the Pacific Division? In my opinion, I mean, again, goaltending matchup that's interesting. I think Martin Jones has proven himself for sure in the playoffs, but he's also proven he can be kind of poor at the same time in the playoffs, if you get what I mean. If you look at 2016, he was really good, and then maybe years prior, not so much. I think it's going to depend on a lot on that. I like San Jose's depth, but I think Calgary just pulled this one out, to be honest. Johnny Gaudreau is going to have an incredible playoffs, in my opinion. Mark Giordano's having a Norris year. I think the Flames do it. And on the other side, we have a rematch of the second round in 2016, I believe. And I think this Blues won Game 7 in Dallas, if I'm not mistaken, by a crazy score. I think they scored 6. And it was really embarrassing for the Stars. And I think for that reason, revenge. The Dallas Stars march on to the conference finals. Look at these hot takes, baby. That's why this is hot take hockey. All right. The Eastern Conference, I think Tampa Bay's got to beat Boston. I think if they don't, that's a huge failure for them. The Bruins will make this more of a series than they did last year. I think some injuries caught up to the Bruins in the playoffs, as well as fatigue from the first round. They'll probably have the same fatigue, but I think they can muster a couple more wins. But this one ends in 7 in Tampa and in favor of the Lightning. Hurricanes Penguins, I believe 2009 conference final, if I'm not mistaken. The Penguins took that one. It's been 10 years, and now the Carolina Hurricanes are going to knock out the Pittsburgh Penguins in the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. It might sound funny, but I just think if the Carolina Hurricanes do beat the Washington Capitals, I think there's this thing called momentum that's really going to carry them into this series. And I think for that reason, I genuinely believe that the Carolina Hurricanes can beat the Pittsburgh Penguins in 7 games. I might sound stupid, I might sound crazy, but funnier things have happened in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and the Carolina Hurricanes are on a mission. All right. Conference finals, Flames Stars. I think the Flames are just too good for the Stars. And for that reason, I mean, I'll give Dallas 2 wins in this series, but I think the Flames will take it. Lightning Hurricanes. Interesting. This one's interesting. I think really it's got to be Tampa, though. I think Tampa's on a mission again this year. I think after last year not breaking the Stanley Cup Finals, I think that was a huge letdown. I think they're gonna want it really badly. And I'm taking them over the Hurricanes in 5. It'll be a good run for the Canes, though. Rest in peace to the Hurricanes, baby. All right, Calgary, Tampa, 2004. I wasn't old enough really to remember it, but man, the Flames were so close in that series. And there's this thing called revenge, and the Flames are seeking it, and the Flames are gonna win the Stanley Cup Final. 2019 Stanley Cup Final in Tampa, Game 7. They're going to reverse what happened, 13 years ago? No, 13 years ago. No. 15 years ago. Man, time flies. And for Flames fans, it'll be a 15-year wait well worth, because they're going to score. There's going to be 33 goals scored in the Stanley Cup Final, and the Calgary Flames are going to take it home as the number 2 seed in the league against the number 1 Tampa Bay Lightning. Hopefully you enjoyed that prediction, guys. It might be way off. It probably will be. If the number 1 and 2 seeds in the NHL, I didn't actually come into this thinking that the number 1 and 2 seeds would just make it through because of the number 1 and 2 seeds. I think that in terms of matchups, they're pretty favorable. But anything can happen in the playoffs, guys. It's the playoffs. That's why we love them. If you guys are new, subscribe, leave a like if you enjoyed, comment your thoughts down below, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.